Well, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. We are in the Advent season and we're looking at the themes of Advent. Today we start the second candle, which is the candle of love. And technically, we talk about the warmth of love of the stable. Then I would read Luke chapter 2 and get a few of the verses here where we talk about love and where we get the love of what happened, the greatest love event. It says, in those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria. And everyone went to his own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. So we look first of all at the baby. John 3:16 puts it this way: "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life." God gave his Son, and he gave his Son in flesh. John begins, the Word became flesh. And he did this, his motivation of that was love. For God so loved the world. God so loved you, he so loved me, he so loved everyone, that he sent Jesus. And it's good to know that he was sent and where he was sent. If you visited the Holy Land, you'll realize that the stable part was a cave. It wasn't the barn manger scenes like what we have now. When you go to the Holy Land, those kind of manger scenes kind of get ruined for you. They're good on Hallmark cards, but they're not really very realistic. In that day, they built their homes. They had a lot of caves in Bethlehem on the hills. And they'd build their homes in front of a cave or on top of a cave. And a lot of times they would use the cave as a stable. Obviously, that's what was happening here. And as I showed in church yesterday, but I know a lot of you are not part of our church, I'd like to show you the Church of the Nativity. It's in Bethlehem. I was planning upon being there Friday, but our trip got canceled. But this is a picture of the Church of the Nativity. This is outside the church. It is the oldest church in the world, oldest active church in the world. The original church there met in the 300s, and it was burned down, I think, with the Samaritans. No, but then in 500 it was rebuilt, and it's been ongoing ever since. There was an older church than that not too long ago in Syria, but ISIS made sure that it doesn't go anymore. So this is the oldest one. Interesting enough about it, when the Ottomans took over, they were tearing down the churches, burning the churches. And when they came to this one, they didn't, because of the pictures of the wise men, who were probably from that area were on the wall. So they left it standing. To enter the Church of the Nativity, that's the entrance. And notice that it is low, and they made it that way on purpose. Whoever goes into the Church of the Nativity has to bow to go down. You go down, and when you see the church, it's very ornate. I'm going to show you some things from the stage. This is from the stage. You can tell it's a very ornate church. They have church there all the time. That's it. And then you get in a line right beside the chancel or the stage area, and you go down into the basement. I've never been there when there wasn't a long line. This is what it looks like downstairs. And that's why I say, this is where they would have kept the animals. That's a picture of Jerome, who lived in the cave for 30 years and translated the original Hebrew and Greek into Latin, the Latin Vulgate. And then they have a room where they think Jesus was born. I don't know how they would know that, but they do. And they've got a little spot there where you can put your hand down and supposedly touch the spot where it was. Like I say, I don't know how they would know that, but that's kind of the Church of the Nativity. And this week, we're going to kind of talk about the love and how that impacts us and is part of us. And so we're going to talk about the theme of love this week, which is the theme of the second week in Advent. And we'll begin tomorrow looking at some aspects and scriptures of love that I think we need to know to do that. Glad you joined me today, and we'll continue this tomorrow with the advent of love.